So for any shot you're playing that's not a full swing, and I would say for you that's probably 70 yards and closer, maybe 50, 60 yards, that sort of thing. But anything where you think it's not going to be a full swing, the setup will slightly adjust. Now previously you can see you had your sort of sternum left of the golf ball. The shaft was, as we look left, right in your terms you look, the shaft was leaning back away from the target a little bit there, okay? So everything now is behind the golf ball in an attempt to try to get it up in the air and try and lift it. And often case in point would be hit the ground behind the golf ball and you'd pull it left. Okay, so with a short shot, you kind of occasional little flick with the wrist and you got away with it. It's still not the method we'd like to try and use, but 20-yard shots were okay. It was when you got that sort of 30 to 60-yard distance, we were hitting the ground a bit early. Ball was very often going left. Okay, so we're going to make sure, number one, that club face is aiming straight to target. Okay, it's going to seem to you, because you're someone who has a bit of an issue sometimes with the slice off the tee, you've always then aimed your club face left. Okay, we want to make sure that club face aims towards your target, and you can see now at address, everything there, everything now is left of the golf ball. So your sternum now is on the left hand side. You're just moving those hips a little bit sort of laterally. The hands are nicely in front of the golf ball. We're in a position now, just looking at those two there, you can sort of see it in the actual angle of the golf clubs, how this one now is definitely on your lead foot, shall we say. Where this one you look a bit more sort of leaning back to try and scoop it up in the air, okay? And you can't get under a golf ball unless the ball's sat on a really high bit of grass. You're going to top it most of the time, okay? So getting yourself left of the golf ball, and the key thing is now making sure that when you're setting up, we say hands, weight, chest, or sternum, left hand side. As we swing that golf club, we keep it there. And what we'll then do in terms of distance control, if we think about the golf swing that sort of creates this sort of circle around the body, if you're going for a full swing, the club would end up somewhere up here, and that would give you 80 yards of power. There's 50, there's 70, there's 60, there's 50, there's 40, 30, and so on and so forth. So you just set the distance in the backswing for how far you want to go. Now in this case in point it was like 40 yards. I think it was about just above your shoulders there, the club went back. So there's your sort of 40-yard shot. So you could argue there's two ways. Like one, some guys like to think about where their arm is. I would say your arm is at like a 9 o'clock position. Okay, so sort of in the clock face, it's straight towards 9 o'clock there. Some people like to think about the club face. Your club head or club shaft is pointing more towards 10 o'clock. It doesn't matter which one you choose to use, as long as you're aware of where the club is, and then you know when you hit the ball, that yellow flag, it's that sort of swing. To go a bit further, the club would go a bit further on the way back. To go shorter, it'd be a shorter swing. But that's something you'll develop. It makes it a lot easier, however, if you're striking the golf ball better. If you're hitting the ground behind the golf ball, you lose a lot of energy, okay? And then, of course, when you then hit the next shot to try and miss the ground, you hit the ball halfway in the minute, whizzes across the green like a rocket. So what happens then, you may have a swing, you'll have a swing speed or distance or length that would send the golf ball maybe 35 yards. If you hit the ground behind the golf ball, it might go 10 yards. If you hit the ball in the middle, it goes 55 yards. Well, now your distance is massive. You can't. How do you judge distance when your variation between contact is so great? You have three swings at the same, and you end up with three different yardages. Okay. If you're striking the ball more consistently by getting everything, as we said, left of the golf ball, hands, weight, chest, you get a much more consistent strike. If you swing a golf club to there, it's going to go 40 yards more often than not. The variation now will be sort of maybe 35 or 45, depending on how well you sort of hit the ball through the hitting area. But your contact will be a lot better. Striking the ball, you see still coming down. So your club there, we can see striking the ball is still actually coming down as you hit it. So that's where you're going to get the contact now of the ground after the ball, getting those divots that you were saying your mates get when you play golf, rather than leaning back. So when you finish the swing now, we're a bit more on your left-hand side. It's still a little bit for me leaning back, but certainly better than where it was. Okay, so if we can get yourself forward on that front side, but watch that club. It's the biggest thing I think people who struggle with the ball curving to the right in the air, with chip shots and pitch shots, they just turn the club face the same way and the ball just goes straight left on them. Because you can't slice a pitch shot or a short shot, can you? The ball's not in the air with enough spin to do that. Okay, so everything left of the golf ball.
There's no way of negating that spin before you... Because when I used to play... you remember the old pub skittles?
Yeah.
When I used to play that, I used to hook
so left to right,
and when the guy said, put the ball on the ground and spin it.
Okay.
And then stop it. Because that way it takes the spin out of your wrist.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So I tried that and it worked. There's no way you can do that with the golf ball.
Not in golf, no, unfortunately not. The ball just sits there. The spin's being created at the point of contact. So when you make contact with the golf ball, if we think about sort of 2 lines now going sort of straight here, when you're going, if this green line or the red line, if that's where you're trying the golf ball to, so your flag is sort of up here and you're down there. If the club is pointing anywhere in this direction to the right, okay, and the direction the club swings on this blue line is anywhere to the left, the golf ball now will spin like that, okay? If we can get the green line, okay, and the blue line to be the same, the ball will go straight. Right. So when you're chipping and pitching and the path and the club go this way, the ball then goes straight there. If we ideally want to try and get the blue line and the green line to be going there, so the ball ends up going dead straight. But the spin's created by the difference in terms of where the club is aiming at the point of contact and the direction the club coming. Think about someone kicking a football. So like David Beckham, for example, he would run in from this side, kick it from there. His foot would be swinging out this direction, and his instep would be facing this way, so the ball then would do a lot of that. So it's the spin created at the point of contact. So. Right. But yeah, set it with those pitch shots. Everything left, hands, weight, chest. Keep it there throughout, and then you judge the distance now in the backswing. Okay? Make sense?
Yeah.
Good man. Have a couple more then. Try to hit those lines.